You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Got questions about your hound's health? Need the facts on Fido's fitness or food? You want to unleash your pup's potential? Well, you've come to the right place because it's time to win with dogs. Here, we learn how easy it is to naturally improve the lives of our furry friends. So sit, stay, and get ready to win with dogs. With me, Raquel Wynn.
Hello, you are listening to Win with Dogs here on Pet Life Radio, where quality dialogue about our pets is the focus. I'm your host, Raquel Wynn, and boy, am I excited about today's show. This episode features a topic we will be discussing often, nutrition and how to feed Fido right. You know, the options are so numerous and the opinions are so varied when it comes to canine nutrition that I thought it best we just kind of jump on in, see what's out there, and start processing the information. On today's show, we will be joined by Karla Haas, owner of Rudy Green's Natural Food for Your Pup. After a life of extensive travel with homes in Florida, New York, and Europe, and jobs ranging from model to artist to corporate management, Karla now calls Louisville, Kentucky home, and Rudy Green's her passion. I was fortunate to have met Karla over a year ago at a doggy event in Nashville, and I gotta tell you, I love what she is doing. She's offering home-cooked, nutritionally balanced food options for our canine companions. And we will be discussing her wonderful products right after a word from our sponsors. So don't go away.
Hey, don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back to Win with Dogs right after this quick water break.
Greetings, human. What planet am I on?
Welcome to Pet Planet. Here's a copy of Pet Planet Magazine, Florida's most informative and fun pet resource magazine. It features heartwarming stories and informative articles from local and national pet experts.
Excellent.
Pet Planet Magazine offers Operation Planet Rescue, helping rescued pets find new homes. And it's available at 500 locations in South and Central Florida and 24/7 on the internet at PetPlanetMagazine.com. If you're out and about with your pet, you may be featured in paparazzi, candid pictures of you and your pet. For up-to-date pet-friendly events, activities, and pet-related services and products, Pet Planet Magazine is your final destination.
I shall take this magazine home with me.
Back to your home planet?
No, to my condo in Boca.
Pet Planet Magazine. Check them out at www.petplanetmagazine.com or 352-394-8578. It's out of this world.
There's nothing like a shaggy dog, baby. They're shagadelic. And this is the place to find out how to have harmony in the household with your pets. Oh, yeah. So stop by our pad every week and get switched on, baby. Switched on to the show that's all about attitude. Oh, behave. With your groovy host, pet edutainer Arden Moore. Yeah, baby, yeah. Every week on demand on PetLifeRadio.com.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Thanks for hanging around. We're back to Win with Dogs with me, Raquel Wynn, on Pet Life Radio.
Okay, we're back on Pet Life Radio. I'm Raquel Wynn, and you're tuned into my show, Win with Dogs. On today's show, we are discussing nutrition and checking out the options when it comes to feeding your dog. We're joined today by founder and head chef of Rudy Green's, Karla Haas. Before we get chatting with Karla, I want to remind you that health is a choice and we need knowledge to make the best choices. It's up to us as pet parents to get the facts, form our opinions, and feed our pets accordingly. You know, the world of canine nutrition has been a hot topic lately because of all the pet food recalls the past couple of years. Dogs have died, pet parents have been stunned, and pet food companies shamed as a result of the scandal. Ingredients in our pet food are vital to your dog's health, and often, unfortunately, trusting a pet food company to provide you with the best possible nutrition for your pet is foolish. Have you read the ingredients on most foods, even the ones in your vet's office? usually not so good. Well, today we have with us Karla Haas, founder of Rudy Green's, and she is offering a great option for our dogs. Rudy Green's is full of quality ingredients, and it's something you can rely on and receive when you go with Rudy Green's Pet Treats and Meal Enhancers. These fresh, home-cooked meals made just for your pup come right to your door and will keep your pup smiling for sure. Welcome to the show, Karla. Thank you so much for being here.
Raquel, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Nashville is a town full of dog lovers, and I think what you're doing is great. Providing this information and a resource for all things canine, I think, is something that everybody will benefit from.
Well, thanks, Karla. You know, I'm a huge fan of getting involved and changing the scenario if things just aren't right. And in pet food world, that's kind of what's going on. And this is exactly what you're doing. You're getting hands-on and providing a safe, quality feed option for pup parents with Rudy Green. So I thank you. And now, I know you're a longtime animal rescue worker, but how did this concept of cooking for dogs come about?
It's actually kind of a funny story. I was on the board of directors for the Humane Society in Collier County in Naples, Florida, and worked closely with the Metro Animal Services there in that town at the time. And this was, the early 90s. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, a stray chocolate lab shows up at my door, as hundreds of others had, with a collar and tags. I called Animal Control and I said, here's the dog here. Here's his tag number. And rather than them coming out and picking him up, they knew me well enough to know I'd be responsible and get him back to his owners. And they said, well, that's Rudy Green, and he belongs to Janet and Tom Green, and here's their phone number and address. Well, it turned out, because of circumstances, that Janet and Tom really didn't want Rudy Green anymore. And I thought, I found homes for hundreds of mutts and dogs that, weren't nearly as attractive as Rudy.
Right.
But surely I could find him a home. So after we got Rudy fattened up a little bit and cleaned up, I began the process of trying to find him a home. And this little angel that behaved so beautifully at my house would present himself to potential parents by lifting his leg on their furniture or growling at their kids or chasing their cat or something, and ended up, I had Rudy for...
He didn't want to go anywhere.
No, he wanted to stay with the mama. So I had him for 13 years. Well, Rudy was 14 a couple years ago and developed, after a long history of digestive problems, developed an ulcer from trying to find an arthritis medication that would work.
Right.
And this bleeding ulcer caused such bad anemia that he was very close to death. And the vet told me there is not enough nutrition in canned food to make him healthy. He cannot digest dry food anymore. You have to cook for him. So
wow, that's
Rudy.
Great to have a vet that suggests that. So that's fabulous.
You look at it, if you like you said, Raquel, if you read the ingredients, first of all, if you can decipher what those ingredients mean, which maybe we can touch on a little bit later.
Yeah, we will.
If you can read those labels intelligently, you'll realize that there probably isn't the nutrition in that there is in the foods like you and I eat. So I began cooking for Rudy, topping my other dog's dry food with some of these home-prepared meals, and I saw such vitality. And Rudy came back to health so quickly, it was just like a light bulb went off, and I started looking into something that other people are looking into now more closely, and what nutrients are in food.
Yeah, that's really great. I, for one, cook for my dogs, and I do what you suggest, which is sometimes they eat purely home cooked, and other times I put it as a supplement to their kibble. And I'm totally with you in agreement that my dog's health, they're both rescues, has just, it's been amazing. They're like puppyhood now,
It makes a huge difference.
It does.
You look at most respected veterinarians and animal nutritionists will say, supplement your dog's dry food with home-cooked meals. I don't think there's a whole lot of them that go so far as to say, cook just this or just feed raw, or really go out on a limb and promote one diet. But I think there's pretty much a consensus among among a lot of veterinarians and almost all nutritionists that real food does provide nutrients that are not found in kibble or canned food.
I totally agree. And, just like to touch on that subject a little bit more in depth, when you're talking about reading the ingredients and what some of the ingredients are, it's things like byproducts and meals and lots of sugars and just stuff that you don't want in your pet's food. Can you tell me a little bit about what is the difference with Rudy Green's and kind of what you saw in the commercial pet food that was alarming to you and what is not included in your Rudy Green's foods?
I'd be happy to. What I make, Rudy Green's Doggy Cuisine, is actually people food for dogs. Mm-hmm. It is just basically bland human stews that are made in formulations that are veterinary approved and nutritionist recommended, and formulated to put back some of the missing ingredients in dry or canned food. Those being primarily things like amino acids and essential oils that are not included in dry food or canned because they're cooked at such a high heat that most of those ingredients are destroyed. So what I make is a frozen, all-natural, 100% human quality people food for dogs, and it comes frozen in resealable 12-ounce containers that can be microwaved. If you want to take a chill off or if you forget to thaw it out, obviously it's better not to overcook the food. And it can be served warm or cold. You can mix it with dry food or you can serve it alone. Ideally, it's a great supplement for dry food in a healthy animal. In a sick animal, in a senior dog that has difficulty eating dry foods, or in a dog with digestive disturbances that require special diets, it's a perfect meal. If you just want to show your dog you're cooking for him, you know how dogs want to eat what you're eating. So,
of course, and that totally is another thing. It helps with our little bond. They love being pampered over.
Exactly, and they love their food so much. And it really is. Dinner time is such a wonderful event at our house.
That's great.
And I've had customers send me video of dinner time or breakfast time at their house, showing me, and it's on my website. Actually, a couple of dogs would just go crazy.
Your website, rudygreens.com, is great, and I assume that's your chocolate Rudy Greens that you're discussing.
That is the Rudy Green. That is the Rudy Green. Unfortunately, I lost Rudy. He was just over 15 when I lost him. I basically bought him a year cooking for him.
Yeah, you learned so much, though. I'm sure.
And I learned so much, and he is out there looking out for me now. So like I said, this is people food. And if you look at my label, if you look at the ingredients in Rudy Green's, you can pronounce everything, and you know what it is. Now, when you're looking at ingredient labeling in pet food from a bag or a can, again, they're listed in descending order of weight. And there's a nutritional analysis on there that tells you, the protein and the fats, the fiber, and all of that, just like there is on Rudy Green's. But what you'll see are some terms that you might not understand, and one of them is a byproduct. Now,
let's definitely talk about byproducts. Okay. And this is something, listeners, that you do not want to see in your dog's pet food. Let's just start with that statement.
So meat, we know what real meat is. Real meat, and that's what you want to look for, is meat as the first ingredient. It refers to muscle, whether it's part of a mammal or poultry or fish. And although it could be accompanied by fat or skin, it comes directly from the slaughterhouse and it's been processed but not rendered. So that's what real meat is, and that's what you want to look for. One of the things you don't really want to look for is meat byproducts.
Right.
And meat byproduct is non-rendered, supposed to be non-rendered clean parts of slaughtered mammals that aren't meat. So it's things like lungs, kidneys, brains, spleens, intestines, and blood and livers. And the problem with that is that organs are they're repositories for a variety of disease tissues and contaminants. So it can be contain things that a sick animal harbored in its system that you don't want in your dog's food.
Completely. In fact, like you're saying, organs oftentimes are the filter system of the body. So it's kind of like eating the air filter of your home, and that's where all of the gunk is, and you don't want to eat the sponge.
You don't want to eat that. You don't want to eat that. And something that is not talked about and not very well known is that a lot of meat byproduct in commercial pet foods comes from zoo animals and, unfortunately, euthanized pets and horses.
And when you say euthanize pets, I want
dogs
to
and
tell
cats.
people, yes,
Dogs
that
and
includes
cats.
dogs and cats. And now, for those of you, we're not big conspiracy theorists over here, and it's actually a fact that in many commercial dog foods, you do have euthanized cats and dogs to up that protein content. Which,
and by law, I think it's only 5%. The 5% is allowed to be that, but it's still you're feeding your dog phenobarbital if this is happening.
Right. 5%. I mean, that's 5% too much. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And in one sense, Raquel, I'm enough of an environmentalist to go, okay, well, at least their bodies are going to a purpose. They're not getting put in a landfill. They're going to serve a purpose to continue life. But if they've been euthanized, or if they've been sick and died of a disease, that's not good. You don't want that back in the food chain.
No, and plus, mad cow disease is started from cows eating cows. So we don't know the impact physiologically on a body having to process that. So that's not good at all.
So that's pretty much that's encompassed under that term meat byproduct. There's another term called meat meal, and you'll see these saying chicken meal or beef meal or lamb meal. Meat meal, like a byproduct, it's an iffy proposition. It's product from tissues like blood, hoofs, hide, hair, and even manure. It means that the term meal means that these materials are not used fresh and they've been rendered, all smushed together. So that's something else you don't want to look at. There's other protein sources that you have to take seriously when you're buying a commercial food that they very well, according to AFCO, which is the regulatory agency over pet food, supposedly, they might be part of...
supposedly. Operative word, supposedly.
There could be hair. There could be dehydrated food waste, which is like food garbage picked up from restaurants. There could be dried swine waste. There could be stomach contents of slaughtered cows. There's all these other things. And then there's vegetable proteins that are like empty calories thrown in. There's glutens to make things into the shapes you want. There's a lot of things
that are not food.
The majority, you just don't want them. I mean, it's just not real food.
So one thing you're saying is dog owners should really be looking for ingredients that are real meat, real vegetables, and grain ingredients. Is that right?
Exactly. Recognizable, recognizable high-quality ingredients. And as you look at this really lengthy list on pet food, you will see additives that make a food complete and balanced. And in order for a pet food to be called a complete and balanced meal, they have to meet the nutritional requirements that were assigned years ago for all breeds of dogs for all stages of life, which if you stop and think about that statement alone, now you know and I know that a Chihuahua needs a completely different requirement of nutrients than a Husky would. I mean, it just makes perfect sense. That to say that all breeds can require the same nutrients, but if you're going to get into really finding what's best for your breed, you're taking on a big task. There are a couple of resources that are great to help you with that. One of them is a gentleman named William Cusick, who's a genius and is really well.
He has a great website.
It's a great website, and you can scroll through his website and actually find your breed of dog and find what things are just a rough outline of what's best for them, which is worth doing.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Well, Karla, you are giving us some really great information today on pet dog nutrition specifically. And when we come back after taking a break, let's talk a little bit more about food regulations and the lack thereof, and what we can do to offer our dogs the right foods to eat. But first, we need to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Karla Haas, owner and founder of Rudy Green's, right here on Win with Dogs.
Hey, don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back to Win with Dogs right after this quick water break.
Pets can be a wonderful addition to your life. Keeping them healthy and happy is important. Pet Life Radio presents The Pet Doctor with veterinary media consultant and veterinarian Dr. Bernadine Cruz. Whether you have a dog, cat, reptile, or rabbit, you'll find answers for your pets straight from the vets. The Pet Doctor, on demand every week, only on PetLifeRadio.com. Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Thanks for hanging around. We're back to Win with Dogs with me, Raquel Wynn, on Pet Life Radio.
Thank you again for being with us today. You're listening to Win with Dogs on Pet Life Radio, where quality pet dialogue is key. And I'm Raquel Wynn, talking with Karla Haas of Rudy Green's. And just before the break, we were discussing the ingredients in pet foods and what we want to see and what we don't want to see. And it makes me think, why is the federation that is supposed to be regulating this, why are they not doing a better job? And they're called AFCO. Do you have any ideas on what's going on with them, Karla, and kind of what they do and what they don't do?
Well, yes, and AFCO's not completely to blame. What you have with pet food is the competition is steep, for business from pet owners. And every big pet food company has looked for bigger markets and greater margins, just like any business would. But unfortunately, unlike our food industry in general, the oversight for the food we feed our pets it's weak. And we found that out with the pet food recalls.
Right.
That scare was a heck of a wake-up call to everybody. So there's watchdogs when it comes to pet food, but it's not the kind of watchdog you want guarding anything that's precious to you. So
right, and there's some websites that you can turn to for pet food recalls, and I know that the ASPCA website has it. So does the WD Cusick website. And the FDA. Yeah. And
that's the organization that really is ultimately responsible in overseeing the industry. At the FDA, there's three of them. The FDA, the Center for Veterinary Medicine, which is the CVM, and AFCO, which stands for the Association of American Feed Control Officials. Now, the one thing that is missing is something you and I will look for, and we know what the USDA does. The Department of Agriculture looks at our food. They inspect our beef and our chicken that we eat, but they are not involved in pet food. Inside our borders, we really only have the FDA. And if you think about it, the they really don't have pet food at the center of their radar. I mean, really.
Yeah, they don't. They've got their own issues with human food. They've got some big issues, yes.
They regulate drugs and medical instruments and blood products and personal devices and appliances. And,
it really is up to us to kind of take the lead and see what's
they absolutely. They farm it out to the Center for Veterinary Medicine to take care of it. But the Center of Veterinary Medicine kind of farms it out to AFCO. And AFCO is really only responsible for the regulation of pet food labeling. And if you look who AFCO is, it's really not much more than a trade organization. Their membership has representatives from large pet food manufacturers. So it's kind of like the fox watching the chicken food.
They have a huge job ahead.
Labeling, yes, and it's labeling.
Exactly. So you're saying with Rudy Green's, we get the benefits of all the great nutrition of home-cooked meal. We don't have to worry about any sugars, any preservatives,
no byproducts, no additives, no
meals, which is great. So as you were saying, it's considered a treat just because it hasn't met certain breed standards.
Exactly. Here's the dilemma.
It truly is a meal, honestly.
It really is, but I can't call it that
I know you can't.
because it does not have those added vitamins and minerals, which unfortunately often come in powdered form from China, and you can't trust. So I went the path of an all-natural, preservative-free product. So
which is great.
It's up to you to decide whether you want to supplement your dog's food dog's diet with a vitamin and mineral.
Well, let me ask you this: if we're telling listeners, let's say our listeners really want to be feeding their dogs the best thing, what would you say would be the process? Let's say they bought some of your Rudy Greens. Do they just give them the Rudy Greens daily, or can you put that on the kibble? And if so, what kinds of foods do you recommend grouping it with? What kinds of dog foods?
You're not gonna get me to recommend a dry dog food, but obviously you get what you pay for. So go, I would tell people just buy the best food you can afford. And obviously, and there's some foods that there'll be bags on the shelves in pet food stores and in groceries right next to one another, and one will be more expensive than the other, yet the less expensive has meat as the first ingredient. So buy the best thing you can, but by all means read the labels.
Yeah, exactly.
And you want to look out for the things that we've just talked about. At least keep them to a minimal, to way down on the list, because ingredients are in the descending order of weight.
Right.
So I suggest using my product,
which you have four. You have four different. Flavors, and then a special one that we'll talk about in a minute. But they sound great. Beefy rice, which is lean cuts of prime beef with brown rice, peas, and carrots. Geez, sign me up. I want it. Vegemite with lentils, barley, spinach, potatoes, corn, peas, carrots. You've got pork, pasta, and potato entree. You have chicken and veggies. It's fabulous. I love all of them. You're so welcome. What's going on with the special holiday flavor you've got going on? Tell me a little bit about Holiday Buffet.
The buffet is a real holiday meal made for dogs, and what it is a healthy version of everything that you and I have on our Thanksgiving or Christmas table, all smushed together and made for dogs, with the stuff that's not good for them left out. So it's the holiday buffet consists of ground turkey with sweet potatoes, some bread cubes with celery, sage, and rosemary for the stuffing, some green beans, which like your green bean casserole you have, pumpkin, and cranberries.
So they can completely be involved.
They can
participate in our holiday feasting.
Exactly. And people ask me a lot of times, Raquel, well, what's the difference between me just feeding them the stuff on our table? What I've heard that people food's bad for dogs. Well, human table scraps a lot of times aren't good for dogs because, frankly, what we eat a lot of times isn't good for us. But our food is often. Yeah, our food's often salted and seasoned with things that aren't good for them, that can cause digestive disturbances. And if you've ever thrown your dog bacon, you know that the dire consequences of that can knock you out of the room later in the day.
Exactly.
There are things that like onions aren't good for dogs, soy products aren't good for dogs, citrus. There's so many things that are in our foods that aren't great for them.
That you really need to watch for.
Right, and it's basically seasonings and the preservatives of the way we cook it, because dogs did not eat kibble or people food as they evolved. They basically were eating the leftovers, the scraps that we didn't eat. You think about what a golden retriever and a Labrador retriever, where they came from, what they were bred to do. And these are dogs that were fed the duck scraps. And the fish skins and things like that, with a whole lot of oils in it. And then you look now at a lot of labs and you'll see dandruff. Well, there's not enough oils in their dry food.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up about the hereditary progression of the dog's food. And I talk a lot to people about this, the fact that the dog, even their ancestor, the wolf, was considered an optimistic omnivore, not necessarily a carnivore, like a cat.
Right.
A cat
Exactly.
has to eat meat, has to have a lot more protein than a dog. So, I know some people are like, cook for my dogs. I mean, I barely cook for myself.
And that's why I make a TV dinner for dogs.
Exactly, right, which is where you come in. So how much like prepreration goes into you don't have to cook this all yourself, I'm assuming, or
No.
do you spend
I'm affiliated with a food and beverage incubator, which is an FDA preparation facility, it's a human kitchen that helps prepare this, package it, and then it's delivered straight to the stores in Louisville and Nashville, and currently in the Nashville area. You can buy this at 3 area Kroger stores, Brentwood, Green Hills, and the one on Nolensville and Old Hickory. You can buy this at Happy Retails in Maryland Farms, and you can get it at this really fabulous store called Lucky Pup, which is in Edgehill Village, which is a new store.
I love
and she
that
just
store.
picked it up. Oh, it's great.
I love that store.
She is so helpful too. The proprietress is just amazing. How she'll go out of your way to really help you understand the products that she carries, which is great.
So if you're not in the South, which many of our listeners are not, or in Tennessee, can you also get it? You can get it right online at your store.
Absolutely,
at your website.
You can get it online from rudygreens.com. If you are out of an 8-hour radius of this area, Amazon.com is a great place to order it. So if you want to send it to somebody as a gift or across the country, that Amazon is the way to go. But if it's a product that is regionally delivered at this point, if you know of other stores that you think it should be in, I'd love to hear from you. Any suggestions, I'd love to hear from your listeners. Raquel, I can be reached, Karla with a K, at rudygreens.com. And I'm open to all kinds of suggestions and feedback, comments, anything anybody has to say.
And send her your videos, too,
Send me
of dogs eating.
Pictures.
I love the videos of the dogs going crazy.
Pictures,
it's great.
Yes. And just as an aside, because this, my passion for animals has preceded my interest in nutrition, this company is designed with a twofold mission, and obviously one is to raise the bar for pet food standards by creating an awareness of ingredients and the difference that real food can make. But primarily, what gets me out of bed in the morning is that I am donating 5% of all of my sales to a shelter in every market. To help spay and neuter and pet overpopulation, and also to help find homes for adoptable animals. And in your area last year, the donation went to Happy Tails Humane.
Great. That's a great place.
Yes, that is a great organization. And obviously every year that I grow, it'll be more and more money.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Karla, thank you so much for talking with us today, and also for donating back to the pet community. And Karla's donating to 2 things that are really close to my heart, and that is spay and neutering and pet rescue and adoption. I think those are 2 areas of the animal kind of world that we really need to be pumping money into, for sure.
Absolutely.
Getting that education out there. And your foods are great.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Dogs love it.
They do love it. Dogs love it. So if anyone wants to buy this for their pooch, which I strongly recommend, please go to rudygreens.com or to amazon.com and order up some fine food for Fido. And also, I want to remind you that by keeping our dogs clean with what they eat, you can actually stave off many, many issues of longevity that occur, what I call dirty dog syndrome, which I talked about in my first podcast. Another tip just I want to leave you with is to increase your dog's feeding frequency. If you're trying to get your pup to lose some weight, you might try the route of 3 or 4 mini meals a day just to boost that metabolism. And Rudy Green's, I tell you, is calorie light food. It's calorie light. It's great for keeping your dogs lean, keeping the muscle mass on them, which we all know is vital to healthy longevity. And so, Karla, I thank you so much for giving us so much information on pet nutrition. I definitely am going to have you back because I think we just touched the surface of puppy nutrition.
That's the surface. But that's how I think that's the best way to get it across. And people nobody can absorb a whole lot at one time.
Oh, no.
So thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And thank you for doing everything you do to help dog kind. Raquel, you're a wonderful person.
Thank you, Karla. We are here on Pet Life Radio talking pets. We are talking all kinds of goodness about pets. Today we have been listening to Karla Haas, and she has a great company called Rudy Green's where you can just get fabulous food for your dogs. I am Raquel Wynn. My show is Win with Dogs, and I want to thank you once again for joining us, and I say, go win with dogs.
Exercise, nutrition, interaction, and love make for one healthy, happy hound. Give yourself the gift of knowledge on demand every week right here at Pet Life Radio with me, Raquel Wynn, and Win with Dogs.